Welcome to Tea Brews and Data Views. I messed up the name, but it's okay. We are
Yeah.
continuing on. Your hosts here today are me, Clovis Weisbart, and
And me, Lovey Singh. And this is
uh,
not our third attempt at this video.
yeah, no, it's our
This is the
first.
first attempt.
It's our first attempt. I did not mess up the name of our podcast twice in a row.
But tea brews, Clovis, what kind of tea you drinking though today?
Yeah,
I'll tell you what I
so
got.
I am drinking tea, by the way. I have a little mug here. Let me take a nice sip.
Same.
I'm drinking a tea I got from Trader Joe's here. It's their spice chai tea, a rich and robust blend of Assam black tea and exotic spices.
Uh,
What about you?
that's very fancy. I got green tea, but it smells like jasmine, so it's pretty nice. I don't like the
Oh,
smell of green tea, but I do like the smell of jasmine. So
okay.
that's the tea part. What about the data part though, Clovis? What's the data part of our podcast?
Yeah, so each month, one of us challenges the other with a data set that the other will be seeing for the first time. We get it from data.gov. And Loveprit, you're sharing your screen. Why don't you show the data set you sent me? I was challenged this month.
So, quick thing: if you go to data.gov in the search section, just type in food imports, and the first thing you're gonna see is U.S. food imports. So this is it's from the USDA, and you'll get this like Excel file somewhere from here. Yeah, web page links to the Excel file, and then so Clovis is gonna take that Excel file and do some cool stuff with it and jump. All right, your
Yeah.
turn to share.
Okay, yeah. I'll go ahead and share that screen.
Also, you might notice my virtual background is of a garage. This is one of the new background packages.
Yeah, I liked it. I
Like,
noticed that there were quite some big pots there. Must be nice for making family soup or something.
yes, the virtual background package said a lot of pots. A lot of pots.
Yeah, and my background is a baby room slash office that hasn't been organized at all. So
Nice, dude. These packages are getting
across the months,
very
it might change. So yeah, let's talk about our the data set. So if you go to that data.gov link, do the food imports within the US, you're going to get an Excel file that has a lot of different tabs. The ones that interested me the most, and I'm not sure if you felt the same way, were the specific categories where we do a dive into the animals,
Mhm.
beverage imports, coffee, fruits, and then you can see the millions of dollars that were spent for the imports across different countries.
So yeah,
So
so this is the food like cocoa coming from these countries to the U.S. Then.
yes,
Okay.
and the millions of dollars spent, as well as some of the quantity, the units that are worldwide.
Okay.
Um, so what I did was I brought this into Jump. I did some quick and easy table manipulations,
Hold
but
on.
my end
Your,
result.
your screen didn't change yet. Hold on one sec before you. Okay, so here, so now I see the graph that you got, your end result graph.
Okay, yeah, because I hadn't changed. I was still on the Excel file,
I'm
so don't jump the gun. Don't jump the gun.
all right.
So this was kind of my end result where I essentially created a filter condition where I have all the different categories we're looking at, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the countries here that are going to have these bubble plots, different sizes, based off the millions of dollars spent, and that's what we have on the y-axis. And what I can do here is I can press this play button to begin an animation, and we could track the journey here for bovine animals between Mexico and Canada to see, the millions of dollars spent each year, all the way up to 2023. So it's kind of nice. You feel like you're at the horse race track.
But betting on
And
imports now.
yeah, I wish we had a cigar and maybe some bourbon.
Hey,
But
Can you go to Butters real quick? I'm kind of curious about that. Like,
yeah, let me go to Butters. Where is that? Butters or spreads? Ooh, let me resize the axis. Oh, that's interesting. Look at Ireland just taking off right now. Just going,
2014.
yeah, going all the way up. Um, so again, this is an interesting thing. At first, it was the rest of the world. New Zealand was one of the bigger butter people, and then
The butter.
Ireland was like hasta la vista, baby, and really just claimed everything.
I'm wondering what happened in 2014 that just took Ireland through the butter.
I really don't know. And then, you could always change the speed here of these. If you want to go a little faster, you can do that. You can change the bubble size to, have it pop out more. Lots of different things you can do amongst these categories.
So
Um,
show us how you did this stuff with the what's it called, the Excel file. So I don't think you can do this in Excel though.
No, no, not that I know of. And if you look at the final jump table that was used to create this, it's quite different than the Excel file. I was able to put everything here in one table, and I have four main columns: a category column, a country column, a year column, and the millions of dollars spent.
Hmm.
Um, so to get this involved, it pretty much involved a quick import and two easy table manipulations. If you're interested in that, I can show you the step by step.
I
Up
mean,
to you.
I'm not interested, but I think it'll make good for good content on the video though.
Wow, you're not interested. That's a little insulting, but I will show it then.
Thank you. So I guess we'll go through this.
Just the ease of access. So I'll go ahead and minimize this. This is our Excel table again, very different. What I ended up doing was importing it into Jump. And when I import it into Jump, you'll see I get an Excel import wizard that appears. This shows me how Jump is interpreting my data.
Hmm.
I have some individual worksheet settings.
Hmm.
So I tweak these to say, hey, my column header, the variable name starts on row 4, and that my data actually begins on row 5.
Oh, that's slick.
Uh,
Because then it puts all the yeah, it gets all the dates as the column name.
Yeah. And then I selected all my worksheets here from animals to vegetable oils, the specific categories.
Hmm.
And I checked this box where I can say, hey, concatenate these, try to match columns. I saw that they had the same column name, same format. So instead of opening, I'm not sure how many this is, 15 different tables, it just stacks them all into one table.
Okay.
Um, and I chose to use the same format for all the selected worksheets.
Okay.
So, import that to Jump. I'm almost there. This first column is essentially my category column.
Clovis, what do you do with all those dot cells though? Like where there's no data.
Yeah. So I went about it an interesting way. Some people, what they can do is you can select, these blank cells and then just go to row selection, select matching cells,
Hmm.
and select all the cells that are empty. And from here, you can choose to delete these if you don't want them. But what I ended up doing was I was really only interested in the millions of dollars, not like these
Oh yeah.
amounts. So I just selected millions of dollars here and
Gotcha.
created a quick subset.
Oh, that's way slicker.
So yeah, now I don't have those empty cells, but although here for category I do. So
Hmm.
what I ended up doing here was selecting all the rows in this table,
Hmm.
and I chose to fill in the cells, any missing cell with the previous value. So then that, now I know, okay, this Mexico is for the total animals, this Canada is for sheep's, goats, and live
Live
um,
things.
live
Yeah.
beings, I guess. Yeah, you know. Um, so that was one step to make it the right way. And then I didn't need this millions of dollars column, so I ended up just deleting that. And then this one here is just going to be country. And then the last thing I did was a stack because I didn't want all these columns for each year. What I wanted was a label column, which is the year, and a data column, which is the millions of dollar. So I chose to stack this. I selected all of these date columns from 1999 to 2023.
Hmm.
Stacked those. I get a nice little preview here. So again, the label should be the year, and the data column is millions of dollars. Hopefully, I can type this without a typo. And then let's just call this stacked example. Click OK. We now get that table, which allowed me to create that graphic. And
Nice.
I guess the only thing is for year, I might want to make that numeric and continuous.
Gotcha. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So how you make? So how was the graphic though? That was a pretty cool graphic.
Yeah. So the way I went about the graph was I always love going to Graph Builder. That's where I build, I'd say
Graph?
95 to 98% of my graphs. But here I went in the bubble plot.
Oh, okay. Did not even know. That was a surprise.
Yeah. So within the bubble plot, you'll see I can add an X and a Y. So the main thing I want is millions of dollars is my Y, and then X here is my year,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also my time. Because I want to see the path over time.
Okay.
So I could add that here to make it more of an animation. And then I chose to add country here as an ID.
Mm-hmm.
And I also chose to color the dots, the bubbles by country.
Gotcha.
So if I and you could add sizes, you can fill any of these roles if you want. So when I did that, it's initially a little bit messy because we have all of these countries.
Mm-hmm.
So I added a local data filter where I chose category. And now, I can select any of these options, such as maybe, cocoa beans if we're interested in that. Down here, I can change the bubble size. Um, with the red triangles, I can add trail lines, and I can add, maybe an actual label.
Do you think they have one of the categories as tea? Since this is like we have coffee beans. I'm curious. Do they have tea on there?
Yeah, I don't know. That's something I would have to look. Um,
Coffee beans.
Interesting for cocoa beans. It's really from the Côte d'Ivoire here. Look at that, and compared to minus the world, the world.
Yeah, the sum of everything else. Everyone
Well,
except.
actually, the world is just the sum of all of them combined. So, something I might want to do is actually I might want to select world as a country
Mm-hmm.
and choose to just exclude that from the analysis, since it's really just going to be the sum. So now I could play this and maybe revert the axis
Gotcha.
to check this out. So yeah, let me look at T. So I think this is alphabetical right now. Oh, T.
Tea and mate.
So it looks like China, Canada, India, and Japan are the main ones, and then they've aggregated the rest of the world there.
I'm gonna be
Um,
surprised. I'm surprised that Canada is like one of the top contenders.
yeah, no, it's interesting. And then with this, I could always change the speed, make it really fast. I have fun with it.
Okay, so this is cool and all, but I noticed that it took you quite a bit of steps to actually make it. Like, did you ever think about like automating it though?
You sent this to me relatively recently, a couple hours ago, and that is a brilliant idea that I did not think of. I just did all the steps. I wanted to get the nice visual out for you.
It was a cool
Um,
video though.
but I did not think about automation, and you're right. It would be great to automate this. Did you focus on that?
Yeah, let me share my screen real quick. I think
Okay,
I
yes.
need.
Let me stop sharing,
Uh,
and we'll send it back to you. Hello, everyone. So, if you're wondering why Lovey and I look completely different, well, we were having some internet issues earlier, and that's probably because Lovey was doing this call from a garage full of pans and pots.
Yeah.
But I think we have better internet now, so I'm handing it back to you, Lovey. Share your screen. I can see it.
All right, cool. So we were talking about automating the workflow, the whole workflow that Clovis was doing. And what I mean by that is every step that he did, we can basically record into this thing called a workflow builder in Jump. And all I got to do is kind of press this play button right here, and it's going to go ahead and just run all the steps. So you can see it's running all these steps. It makes the table for me. This was that cool step that Clovis did earlier where he replaced the missing with previous value. And I'll just go hit the play button again. And now I have a graph here where I have these filters and I can kind of just see, I don't know, which countries are pulling in, what food products right here. So the cool thing about this one is, I can do all the steps for my graph, record them in the workflow builder, and then if I ever have to, add more data into my data table, all I gotta do is hit that play button, and then it'll, pop it back up. Um, yeah. So,
So wait, let me interrupt you here. So you did a graph builder where you're looking at, okay, the millions of dollars spent, I guess, by the year here,
mhm.
and you're able to filter it by the country and the food type.
Yeah, so
Okay.
this way it's like, if you kind of want to find, we can do a you can do this thing called a conditional filter, so it kind of removes the options that don't carry. For example, like if I want to see who does the best, total beverages, fruit juices, and liquors, right? This will only show me the countries that do those specific products, and I can see like France, Italy, and Netherlands all have kind of a lot of values for this particular category. So now I can kind of just zoom in on this section and then zoom in on just the countries that do it for that particular section. So it
Okay.
seems like for whatever reason, liquors and liqueurs, Italy is low on, but total beverages, it's a lot coming in from Italy.
So for out of curiosity's sake, before we go back into the workflow, pick cheese for me. I want to
Cheese.
know if France is number one.
Let's see, France number one. We got cheese here. There's the world, but let's see the top counts are France, Ireland, Italy, Netherlands, and kind of everyone else.
Oh wow,
Oh, cheese.
Italy has more. I guess mozzarella
Yeah,
and Parmesan and things like that. But
there was
I
a
still stand by the French cheese being tastier here.
There was like a spike or a dip in the cheese market, I think in 2020, but I think that was COVID. And then after that was a big pizza recovery, which I guess Italy helped in. All right.
Okay,
Anyways,
yeah.
so let's see how we can make a workflow. Okay, this is kind of a long one, so I'm gonna do probably a simpler example where I'm not doing all these different sheets right here. But what I do want you to know about is there's these three buttons that you should kind of know about. There's a red button that records the workflow. There's a rewind button that takes you to the very beginning, and there's the play button that plays the steps. So if I hit the rewind button, it takes it all the way to the very first step. I just did that to kind of close out of every window. But what we'll do is go to new workflow, and we have this new workflow right here. And I'll just kind of keep it on the side. Now, what I'm going to do is hit the record button here, and then go to File, and then let's open up that food imports thing. So here's food imports, opening it up. And in this case, I'll just do food values, and I'll just hit import. And you can see in the workflow builder right there, it records that very first step that I just did. And now if I do something, for example, like if I rename this column, let's just say, what's it called? Let's call this food type, uh, and hit OK. That renaming of the column is captured in the workflow builder. Additionally, I kind of want this empty cell row to be deleted, so I'll just delete this row too. So if I do delete rows, in workflow builder it says delete selected rows. Now, one thing that I always kind of recommend is don't do like 50 steps and then check your work at the end. What's better is to do like 3 steps, hit the rewind button, and then hit the play button again, and just make sure the steps that you did, they get checked off, and you get these nice little green checks, and your data table actually looks the way that it's supposed to look.
So then let's say someone wanted to add a graph to this and have it be part of the workflow. How would you go about it?
Okay, let's do that stack thing that you were doing earlier, right? So let's do that table manipulation where we go to tables and we'll do stack, and I want to stack all these. And this is kind of what I want to do right here. And this label section right there, that's the year. And then the data is just millions of dollars. So millions of dollars. Okay. Now, you can see that. So I got this nice kind of this table right here, but I forgot to hit that record button in my workflow. So that would be very unfortunate if I didn't capture that step. But the nice thing is there's this log down here that captures all the steps. So if you do forget to hit that record button, you can just take a step from the log and promote it up into the workflow. And now, so now what I'm going to do is just make sure I end up at the same table again from the very beginning. So I'll just hit the rewind button and hit play, and I should get that table, which is right here.
Nice.
Cool. So now I'm not going to make that same mistake and not press the record button. So I'll press the record button, and now we'll go to Graph Builder, and I'll take the millions of dollars right here, and I'll throw that into the Y, and I'll take the year, throw that into the X, and then I will make this into a line chart, and I'll take food type and throw it into the overlay, so I can kind of see which particular foods are coming in the most. What is this thing? Oh, that's just
I
US
think that's the
import.
sum, right? Is
Yeah.
that all the US imports? Yeah.
So yeah, so we'll just do a hide and exclude on that. So I'll just go back to the data table, which is there's a handy button right here to the data table. And I'll just take these rows and right click and do hide and exclude. And now my data table, sorry, my graph I have at the very end is a lot easier to read.
Yeah, it looks like fish and shellfish
I
are
know
number one.
that's
Yeah.
surprising actually. And after that, fruits, which I guess I mean, like Mexico's right next to us, so it's like they have a lot of the like tropical fruits there. And then like what's number 3? Beverages, huh? Okay. But yeah. So after I do all this, well, I'll just check my work one more time. I'll just rewind, and now we'll just hit that play button again and see if we get that same graph. I'm perfect.
Nice. Yeah. So I think the next logical question is, this is great if, let's say, you have one Excel file where you're adding new rows and you just want to keep pressing play over and over again. But what if you
Mhm.
have similar files at different locations? Is there an easy way to make this work for other Excel files?
Is there an easy way to make it work for other Excel files? Yeah. So I mean, like if you look at the very first step, this is import Excel file. If I go to the step settings right here, and this is kind of like if you want to get into the more scripting section of Jump, you can see it says open desktop food imports, right? Um, so if the other files I had were also similarly formatted, all the subsequent steps would make sense for it. So first I would say is like, do these other files also have the same formatting option? And then what I would do here is this kind of very first step, you can either change it to like the actual file name you want, or there's a specific function in JSL called like the pick file function where it prompts you to actually pick the file that you want to do.
Do you want me to rock your world right now?
All right, sure. How about you share your screen then?
No, 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 no. I want it
Oh,
on your screen.
my
I want to
screen.
rock your world on your screen.
Okay. Hold on one second.
Bring it back up.
Gotta bring it back up. One sec. Share my screen again. It's the entire screen. I think we're gonna get the infinity thing first. Yep, infinity right there. All right. What are you gonna
Okay.
show?
So if you right click that first import Excel file step
Uh huh.
and uncheck the step enabled,
Okay.
so you see how it's grayed out now?
Yeah.
If you were to press play, that automatically makes you do the pick file.
Oh,
It'll
okay.
be like, hey, that table doesn't exist. Do you want to pick a replacement table? So you could
Got
go
it.
to that other button and click OK. And now you have the capability of going to any, Excel file and
Yeah.
doing those steps.
Okay. Oh, that sounds good. I actually did not know that step. Yeah, I didn't pick a file, which is why
You
this
didn't
kind
pick a
of
file, so then it arrowed out. But
yeah.
that would be a way to completely automate that,
Huh.
um,
Well.
especially if you have similar files. And you see how it did that? Like, instead of just arrowing out and stopping there, it prompted you to
Mm-hmm.
pick a new Excel file.
Yeah.
If there was a slight column name difference, it
Mm-hmm.
would still like prompt you to be like, hey, we can't find this food column. Pick a replacement one in this table. And
Got
then it would replace it behind the scenes in every single line of code. So um, super flexible, huge fan of it. And I kind of hate myself for not having thought about doing that when I was doing my bubble plots.
Uh-huh.
Uh, because then
Well,
I don't have to redo it each time. So
yeah,
uh,
but that's a good tip you showed right there. That I didn't know about that step enabled one, so I guess I learned something new on that too.
yeah, I'm a huge fan of. At least I've used that in the past. Um, And like as you were saying, you could always go into the JSL, but
Yeah,
if
a
you
lot of
don't
people
want
don't
to
want to code.
necessarily learn JSL, it's a nice shortcut.
And the other kind of cool thing about workflow builder that I like is that it's easy to copy and paste steps. So like if I have like for example like this particular workflow, and I have like a new one, so let me just make a new one. Let's just say new workflow, and there's like a few steps here that I really want to be in here. You can either just kind of like just move them into the new
Oh,
one,
nice.
or you can just just copy and paste them to the new one as well. But it's really easy to build a workflow and then join it in with another one. So if you have like a complicated process, like there's an import process, there is then creating the reports process, and then there's like some maybe final process where you try to make a dashboard or something like that. What you could do is make each one of those individually, kind of make sure that all those workflows work individually. At the very end, kind of just glue all the steps together, so you don't have to make the big complicated project at once. You can kind of chunk it up into smaller sections.
Good point. Good point. And I think a question that people may ask is, how are these workflows saved?
Oh, how do you save? So you can do it one out of two ways. So like if you do file save as, uh there's a one they just save as a jump workflow package. Sorry, just as the jump workflow file. But there is another way to do it. There's the save workflow package, which let me see. Hold on, I just kind of went to that one. I'm forgetting where do I go for saving it as a package.
Is it maybe through the red triangle menu? I
It's
think that's a jump 18 improvements, maybe.
maybe I
Maybe export. Yeah. Yeah. Create
yeah, create
workflow
workflow
package.
package. Yeah, so then if you do if you when you save the workflow package, it'll bundle the initial file that you have with the workflow as well. So in this particular case, this workflow is referencing this bioassay data file on my desktop. But when you save it as a package, it'll tie in the original import file that you need into the workflow.
Oh, nice. I actually I knew that, but I forgot about it. So I'm glad you reminded me. Always good to bring that up in future demos.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I would say people just kind of go around and just mess around with the workflow builder and see what you can automate because you can make some cool graphs with it.
Yeah,
Um,
you're essentially a scripter without being a scripter. You didn't write a single line of code here.
yeah, and it goes ahead and and does all of the table manipulations I would need from here. So yeah, a pretty good tool that people should know about. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I think that's a good place to stop our second episode. I think next time, what is it? Who's challenging who? I challenge you with this
I
one. Yeah, you're
yes, I'd be challenging you.
okay. Yeah, so I'll look forward to your data set next time.
Yeah, and yeah, have a great afternoon. I'm glad you were able to make it out of the garage.
Yeah, I
And
might go back there next time though.
we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right, dude. You have a good day.
Okay. See ya. Bye.